Okay.
Well, have a seat. Welcome, you guys. I just wanted to, as long as we have you here, I think we should see if anybody has any questions, and also just I guess I have a few basic ones, but I mean the film was pretty explanatory in a lot of ways, but I think the whole subject is so unique, and you seem such a unique character to the whole tri-state region in a lot of ways, and that there's nobody really doing what you're doing and what you've been doing.
I'm the only guy out there now, and I figure another 84 years and I might be a millionaire.
How many more muskrats would that take?
Well, I think I have to get another 30,000. And what I did with the meat, I used to sell them to the mink farmers, and they used to grind them up and feed the mink. And
okay.
right. And I used to sell over in New York here to George I. Fox and Hushkowitz. And then I used to started selling in Jersey. And that there.
Did they, now people never eat muskrat meat. Is that has been done?
Yes, they down to, especially around Maryland and Delaware, they used to come up to buy them. Muskrat used to feed on cattails, and they never touched meat. They were strictly a vegetarian, and they always lived in water, and they built huts like beaver houses. And the only time you saw them on land was during the mating season, when they used to go from one pond to another. People think they're something like a rat, but they're not. And they weigh about 2 or 3 pounds. And down south, they used to have barbecues.
Is that with the nutria, or is that the same, pretty much the same family there?
It's like a rabbit, it tastes like.
Oh, okay.
And I gave some to a tavern one day, and then when my partner and I went there to eat them, the guys gobbled them all up, and they were looking for more. So they can't be bad eating.
Can't be bad. They just
right.
They just have a
and then
bad
my grandfather, we used to give them to him, and we told him they were rabbits. And then till we found out what they were, and they wouldn't eat no more. Of course, I think the name scares people.
Yeah, I guess so. Like the rat part of the musk.
The
musk
part.
is one thing. That
part.
could be cologne,
well,
but the rat.
It was a French name, like I forgot, like Muskegon or something, and people couldn't pronounce it, so they made it called it a muskrat for short, because they look like similar like a rat.
I don't know if either of you have ever heard of this movie, but we showed a few years ago. I just kind of came back to me. We showed this movie called Muskrat Lovely. Have you heard of that film?
I came to that. That was an anthology.
Oh, you were here for that screening? Right. Oh, that's great. And were you working on this movie at the time?
I started out doing landscape still photographs, and then met Johnny. And I said, well, he would take me around to locations that you couldn't get to. But then I said, well, this is a really interesting story. And largely, I saw that and I said, well, here he's doing it in the side of the Empire State Building.
Right.
So then I really started pursuing the film.
And
because of that.
That film you see here took us 3 years to make, and it took us almost a year to put together. So it wasn't done in overnight. We put a lot of work and effort in it.
Hopefully had some fun.
Right. But now, with progress, I had 26 maps like you saw on here. 98% is gone, all factories and stuff. There's nothing left.
And you have
only me.
You have your maps with you. You showed me some of the maps. So after the screening, if you want to check out some of Johnny's
I got a couple pictures.
He has them. They're pretty neat.
I caught 81 in one day, and I caught 2,700 in the season. That was the highest. And now I'm lucky I get to 80. Nothing is left out there. Progress killed everything. And so people would say, how cruel can you be? And what I caught was a drop in a bucket. You get a big hut, there's 30, 40 muskrats, you catch 2, and they wouldn't move because you couldn't put bait sets. You had a trap on a blind. And a hot mountain came in there, and they wiped them out by the thousands. And then the people that said, oh, that was cruel, they shopped there. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, yeah. So what do you, when you talk about progress, you seem to have a little bit of disdainful tone in your voice. If you were in charge of what happened over the past 50, 60 years in the Meadowlands area, would you do things differently?
Oh, yeah. If I had my way, I would buy a big piece of meadow and let the muskrats live there forever, and nobody bothered them. But
sounds good. I think I would do that too. I would donate. I would donate if you started a muskrat Kickstarter campaign or something.
And then my daughter took me to North Bergen and all out there, and I wanted to show where you to trap. All it was factories and nothing there.
Toxic.
Right. Everything is gone. I didn't even recognize the place. Anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, anybody out there have any?
When did you first start to notice the change? I mean, when did you start trapping, and then how long did you have what you consider to be ideal, natural, and then when did it start changing?
I started in 1939, and then when I went into service, I must be trapping 60 years now. And everybody I knew, there were loads of guys, they were all gone. I'm the only guy left out there. I guess right now I carry a potato sack and a shovel. And I say, just dig a hole and put me in the middle and leave me there. Because that's my home away from home. Any more questions?
How has your this is your wife here with you today too?
Right,
I take it, right? How has she been about the muskrat trapping over the years? Has she always been supportive of it? And
Yeah.
She doesn't mind you bringing muskrats into the house and stuff like that, or?
At least I put some money on the table, and that there.
And that's how you got started in the first
Right,
place.
right,
It was
right.
because you were making money.
Because my brother, he worked on the milk truck. He worked all night for $1. Them days there was no money. And like one day we caught skunks, and I hit the sacks, and the house stunk. And my grandmother opened up all the windows. They never said nothing because I was bringing money home. And I think I gave my mother and grandmother a few gray hairs.
But they never said anything.
No, they never said anything. Right. Anything?
Another question over here.
What happens to the skins these days when they're dried?
The skins.
They make fur coats on them for the women. That's what caused all this here. Women, they're the cause of all our problems. And now, when I should be getting a lot, because China is buying them all, they're paying $8 a skin now.
That's good.
Right,
up.
that's good.
Oh.
That's up.
They don't have muskrats in China, I guess.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
couldn't answer that. Okay?
Anybody else have any questions? I guess, Warner, why don't I just ask you a couple of things then, just because I know you do a lot of other work as well as this very intriguing project that, through my discussions with you, sounds like it could be even a larger, deeper thing with Johnny's writing and other photos and just kind of ecological studies. But I know you were just in doing a photo shoot in southern India, and you also teach photography as well.
Yeah, I've been in New York for over 30 years. I have a loft over on the west side, actually half a block from one of the entrance ramps to the Lincoln Tunnel, which when you go through, the other side is the Meadowlands. And I've taught at Ramapo College in northern New Jersey. And that's what really brought me into the Meadowlands. First was a large format color kind of landscape project. But I've been working with an 8x10 pinhole camera. I did a shoot in Angkor Wat, Cambodia last year. And then so earlier this summer, my wife and I went for 3 weeks to South India, since the Angkor tombs were originally Hindu, and of course that's the biggest concentration of active Hindu temples are in the southern kind of third of India.
And can you explain the process of shooting with a pinhole?
Well, you know, I mostly shoot large format color photography, but I didn't want to take my Linhof and Schneider lenses to Angkor Wat because it's been photographed so extensively by photographers for 100 years. And so I started doing pinhole, and the paper negative pinhole seemed to really work well with the subject matter, the carving, the stone. So it's kind of an accident. Turned out that it worked, and it's also interesting. You know, usually you go to tourist sites, which Angkor Wat certainly is, and people are walking around taking hundreds of photographs with their big Canon digital cameras. Most of my exposures were anywhere from 2 to 20 minutes. So people talk to you. We were in one of the largest active temples. Actually, I think it's the largest active Hindu temple in South India, and I'd be taking very long exposures, and it's an active temple. They're worshippers. And because you weren't just taking, you know, digital snapshots, people talked to you, and they were very open and kind of interested in the process. Because there you are, it's a big camera, takes, you know, very long exposures. And so it's a really interesting way. And
running off like a...
Yeah, exactly. You know, okay, I have 500 shots on my you know, 30 gig card, and so it seems to me to be a really good way to integrate the photography into that active religious environment. And again, we're planning our next trip to India, but not when it's so hot.
It's often hot.
And like I said, when I was young, I used to get on a 15% bus with shotguns in their arm. Imagine them doing that today. They have the flying squad out for you.
And I have to say, one
had some photos of
one of the
that,
great things about the Meadowlands is its mysteriousness. I have many students from that Clifton, North Arlington, not many, but I've always had students. And what they said when they were growing up is that it was sort of their backyard because nobody else wanted to go there. Because it did have that reputation for, you know, whatever, toxic waste dumps, you know, gangland, body dumps.
Body dumps, too, right. You never came across any bodies, Johnny, did you, with the muskrat hunting?
No.
Oh, and then once my brother and I, we caught a few skunks up in Fort Lee. We got on the bus, and first the people moved all up in the front. Then he come around, he opened up all the windows. Then the people got off the bus. Then the guy said to us, "What do you got in that sack?" I told him, "Skunks, out." And then it...
Get on buses with skunks and shotguns.
My uncle...
No way.
My father-in-law, he knew the bus driver, and he says when they come into Nungasses, he had his head out the window like it was shot. They fumigate the bus 3 times, and the owner was trying to find us so he could sue us. Right. Could you imagine doing any of that stuff today? I'd be behind bars looking out, help me, help me.